Snipers, you have to see what's happening at the Bitcoin price this Thursday as the Ethereum merge is complete. And we saw the bearish scenario, unfortunately. And so Ethereum is testing the most important support level right now. See here, Ethereum is currently sitting on the neckline of the head and shoulders pattern with a breakdown target of 1,000 US dollars. It was indeed a buy the hype, sell the news type of event, which wasn't a surprise for those tuned into the Snipers channel. We were prepared if we were to break 1579. We talked about Ethereum breaking down, but what about Bitcoin and the overall markets? A lot is actually happening today, Snipers. So let's dive straight into the news, because it's not just Ethereum that is making headlines here. Bitcoin right now, look at this potential scenario of this buy zone that Bitcoin has here, right around that $17,200 support level. We have the midterm coming up soon and potentially a rally to be expected for this midterm. And on Binance, we have this abnormal volume activity with zero fee trading. We've seen in the past this volume actually being manipulated by wash trading, but this is an interesting scenario here, saying that we have an increase of volume, and this sustained volume and this increase in volume could lead into a sustained rally for the midterms. That's something that we'll have to continue to monitor, but let's talk about the bearish side as well. We're heading towards a capitulation event, apparently, gold, Bitcoin, and stocks. We are also heading towards a blow-off top for the US dollar. When? No clue, but there's something that says the DXY has not topped out yet. It's actually currently in a position for the highest weekly close of the year. And so let's talk about how this is affecting the overall markets. With Ethereum, the first day of the hard fork, what's happened so far? The SEC warns that Ethereum may be a security now that it is moved onto a POS system instead of a proof of work system. Proof of stake means staking is enabled, and staking, by Gary Gensler's terms, is another word of lending, which obviously would be against securities and Howey's rule. So price dropped 6%. Ethereum Classic hash rate hits an all-time high, with Ethereum miners moving to Ethereum Classic. The mempool seems stuck, but no one knows why. And 4 validators control everything. Interesting to see that. Ethereum versus Bitcoin, 3-day MACD bearish crossover may be confirmed by the time you're watching this video. Let's continue to monitor this. The last 6 times this has happened, the 5 times out of 6, we've seen major downside for Ethereum's valuation against Bitcoin. That could also correlate with what's happening right now to the DXY. And of course, with Bitcoin dominance as well, starting to move up. We saw one daily candle wipe out over 2 weeks of losses for Bitcoin dominance, indicating that that could potentially be an inflection point and a reversal for the Bitcoin dominance. So Ethereum just cut an income source for over 1 million people during a recession, and they are celebrating. That was an interesting tweet that I saw. I think it's good to always get both sides of the equation here. And then the S&P 500 is breaking major support right now. That yearly support level that initially held is starting to break. And then another significant thing that happened today was gold breaking a major support level, broke down from a 10-year support level. The next real support is at the 200-week moving average at 1640. Gold has actually come below the 200-week moving average in the past. And so the 200-week moving average hasn't necessarily been a strong support level for gold. So to see that come down would be interesting, because Kathy Woods considers gold a leading indicator for inflation or even deflation. She says that it's actually the best indicator of inflation or deflation. So it's interesting to see gold at 1600 right now. We'll have to continue to monitor that. But don't get too worried about gold. I think that a lot of it has to do with the fact that when you go to these gold shops, they're just not willing to pay as much for gold. And so in some cases, the price being down benefits them because they're buying gold from people that might be liquidating gold in need of cash. And so I think when things turn out a little bit better in the economy, we'll quickly see that price go up, as now we're starting to see, I'm sure, gold, shops accumulating gold are going to want to sell it for a higher price at some point. So I'm not too worried about gold. I think that at some point we will break into price discovery here. But a lot happening today, right? Let's dive into the Snipers charts, because we have the best technical analysis on the internet, Snipers. And then remember to smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm if you support these updates. So Let's talk about Bitcoin. We'll go into Ethereum. Bitcoin right now, 4-hour candle, holding on to a tightrope here below the major support, now a resistance, 19,798. If we have a full 4-hour candle below 19,798, expect volatility all the way up until 17,204. That becomes the range that Bitcoin will play in with a full 4-hour candle below 19,798, which is the major support level. Bitcoin and let's take a look at Ethereum now. Exactly what we talked about yesterday. Hourly and 4-hour candles below 1579 was going to lead to 1440 and potential downside of buy the hype, sell the news situation. You can see it wasn't a coincidence. That's where we really started to see the breakdown. And so now we have the door open to 1277 for Ethereum, potentially even 1165 if we were to see the full fulfillment of that head and shoulder pattern. If we want to see any upside for Ethereum, we need to get above 1579 right now. So that's very significant. The Ethereum to Bitcoin chart also selling off right now. Remember, buy the hype, sell the news. Ethereum was in a head and shoulder pattern. And so now we're seeing the Ethereum to Bitcoin chart show some sell pressure. Not a surprise, because now what is there to look forward to with Ethereum now that the merge is over, right? That's why you always have to keep that buy the hype, sell the news mindset with any major news event like that. So interesting to see that it's still Thursday. We have another business day left in the equity markets, and that could lead to some changes in what happens on the charts. But remember, the DXY is still inside of this bullish formation with this bullish daily candle. We've yet to really see the DXY push up, but as I mentioned earlier in this video, there's no reason it couldn't push up. And if it does push up, 114 is the immediate upside target. If we see that, it starts to really put pressure on the equity markets and Bitcoin. With S&P 500, you can see breaking its previous weekly open, breaking major structural support. And right now, what it's really doing is testing the midpoint of this large channel that it's in. And understand this, if we get below this midpoint, that's going to open up volatility for the S&P 500. If we form new yearly lows, then the likelihood Bitcoin can form new yearly lows becomes highly probable. But for now, I think that the worst case scenario for Bitcoin is 17,204. If we see any potential downside below that 2018 previous all-time high full 4-hour candle confirmations, I think a double bottom could be in play here. So we'll have to continue to monitor that, snipers. I'll definitely update you guys if something happens. Other than that, I think the main thing that I want to leave you guys with for today's video is a lot happened today. It wasn't just the Ethereum merge. It wasn't just something on chain. It was on the charts. Gold decided to sell off. And if we see a storage of value like gold selling off, what is the likelihood of a risk on asset like Bitcoin seeing some upside right now? You know, it's very low. We're probably going to be seeing some further downside here. That doesn't mean we're going to break new yearly lows. We could potentially maybe form a lower double bottom at 17,600, 17,204, but that will all come if we get full 4-hour candle confirmations below 19,798. And with Ethereum, I told you guys 1579, if that were to break, it opened up the door to see some potential downside, and we're in a head and shoulder bearish macro pattern for Ethereum. And so it wasn't a surprise to see the buy the hype, sell the news type of price action as we've been talking about here on the Snipers channel. So we'll continue to monitor things. I think tomorrow's going to be an important update coming into the weekend where the markets are the most manipulated. So stay tuned, snipers. I appreciate each and every one of you tuned into the Snipers channel. I couldn't do this without you. Smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm if you support this content.